Okay, and now I'm going to go down here to the cylindrical face. Now I'm just going to select that inside circle. Okay. Finish. And now it routed that wire directly into the center of that. So now if I go ahead and create a, there we go, visible conductor. There we go. You can see that, with a few misclicks there, it put that thing right down the center. No interferences, no issues at all. So another really cool improvement and inclusion to this new command that was just released last year.
It work with tube route as well?
I'm sorry?
Tube route?
I haven't tested it in tube route. I don't know if it's accessible in the tube route environment. I'll double check that for you, but I'm not sure. That's a good question. So now also we can assign terminals within the context of an assembly. Previously we could do it in a part environment. The problem, so if you had an assembly with connectors or devices, say from a supplier or maybe an online catalog, as a workaround you had to simplify that assembly and then convert it into a part file and then bring it into a part environment within Solid Edge to access terminal assignments. That was the only place that it lived up until 2022. So the new feature now provides an option to take terminal assignments to an assembly component like a PLC, relay, or circuit board. I'll show you a couple of images here. Yeah. And another added benefit to this feature is that if the terminals are defined in the part level, they can be brought onto the assembly level as well with just one click. So let's go ahead and look at this feature. So I've got an assembly open of this connector. So I'm going to go into the electrical routing environment. And I'm going to go to Tools, and you can see I've got this Assign Terminals command here. So this didn't exist in the assembly environment in the routing previously to 2022. So just real quickly, what is the Assign Terminal? So I can assign terminals to all these cavities if that's what's required. So there's already a bunch of predetermined ones here. So if I select that assign terminals, I get a list of all the terminals that have been generated already and where they're set. And I even get some visuals. If I click on either one of these, it's going to highlight here in the display. But that's great. They're already there. So how do we create a new one? So it's pretty simple. I'm just going to create a new assignment. And I'm going to call this X0. And you can see it's still not set yet. So I just click Set. And now I can select from any of these terminals and go through my process and start labeling these as required. Now I'm not an electrical engineer, so I don't know a lot about this stuff. I don't know, a lot of these configurations, but some of you out there I'm sure do. So another really cool inclusion to the Solid Edge routing side of things, which I think is, some of you may be able to take a pretty good advantage of.
So now I'm going to ask a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Since you just prefaced that you're not in the electrical engineering, can you highlight all of those and it pre-populate all of them then, or you have to click New each time?
I think you have to assign them each individually because I didn't see any in this, in this model. If I go back into the assigned terminals, I don't see any of them that are duplicated, or whereas there's V8, V9 all in one set. So I think each terminal assignment has to be separate.
Okay.
Whether or not there's an automated way to do that, there may be. I'll look into that. I'll take a note and check into that for you. But I think they have to be individually set.
Do those assignments transfer to the drawing?
Into the draft? Yes. And then finally, as we kind of heard earlier, Siemens is always listening. We've got some customers that really drove, they've had some challenges, and due to the Impella and Hussmann being some of those, they're taking some of these issues, and I know problems are problems, but a lot of times those problems can really open up opportunities for not just your particular issue, but it could be helping, if we find a resolve to the problem, it could help a lot of people in the long run. So I always like to look at problems as potential opportunities, and that's cheesy to say, but Siemens always is listening. And I want to go, so most of the Solid Edge electrical wired harness design enhancements were due to some of the great feedback we had from some of our customers. And I'm pretty sure there are a few of them in this room today. I won't name any names, but so I'm excited to touch base on some of these improvements for the solid edge wire and harness design. So a lot of you may not even be familiar with what this product is. It's an add-on electrical program. It's not solid edge. It doesn't look like solid edge, but it does communicate to and from solid edge. So it is a pretty cool tool, but again, it's fairly new to the Siemens product line, so not a lot of people are aware of it. But so to add to a couple of these improvements, so we can now map electrical component IDs in solid edge. We now have the ability to preserve the Z order on diagrams, along with the ability to fix positions for place symbols into the schematics. And then finally, there are a few cut and paste enhancements as well. So let's go ahead and look at these a little closer. So as I mentioned, one of the next enhancements was in high demand for a few of our customers that were new to the product and were learning the product. In past, there was little or no connection for the unique component IDs or instance names in the solid edge electrical design to solid edge. So you can see a quick image here. The left image is of the solid edge electrical environment, and the right is the solid edge feature tree environment. So previous to 2022, these didn't match up. There was some automated naming convention happen, and even though we had the ability to cross-reference and highlight in one application, see it pop up on the other application. So with a little bit of extra work, we could find out what was what. But again, this was a very big problem that some of our customers were having, so Siemens immediately addressed it. So as I mentioned before, this new feature provides the ability for solid edge to replace and append the Pathfinder names with electrical component IDs coming from the intermediate file format, so from the solid edge electrical tool. And I think this is huge. So, and I think, as I kind of mentioned earlier, a lot of times I pray and hope that there's good communication from the electrical teams and the mechanical teams, but that's not always the case. And then sometimes even you're the one-man band. I think somebody had mentioned earlier that they were the guy. They did the prototypes, they did the designing, they did the detailing, they did everything. So it's important for all those teams to be able to make sure that all of your product IDs, especially the product component IDs, match in the different products that you are using. So I think this is a pretty important, and again, there's nothing really required from the user to have this happen. It just automatically identifies when you can replace an append if needed. And again, this resolved the issue for the manual assignment of multiple occurrences of the components. And then order action helps users to arrange the decorations, which sometimes overlap each other in order to get a better visualization of the schematic or wire harness. So prior to this enhancement, the order defined of the decorations by the user were ignored as soon as the apply style was performed. So, users would take a lot of time in their schematic, kind of rotating things around and placing things, kind of think of it as like in AutoCAD, you're working in 2D to develop a 2D schematic. And you go and you make all these cool changes, you spend a lot of time and effort, and then you make one change that requires you to hit this apply style set. And as soon as you hit that apply style set, for some reason, everything reset. So Siemens worked really hard, again, on this challenge to really help with that. So the new update will allow the user to better leverage the order functionality. Let me click here, just going to show you what I'm talking about. So before you would have to, if this label was in the background, you'd have to go through a bunch of steps to get it to show on top, similar to like an Excel environment. And then you would go make another change, hit the apply style, and that change would disappear. So you'd have to go back and do it again. So it wasn't very user-friendly, and this improvement will definitely save a lot of probably broken mice and fewer cuss words in the office. So I think that's really going to benefit some of the users in this room and other users that use this software. Simple positioning, this was another one of those pesky commands that just wasn't very user-friendly. And again, the common side effects were blurred vision, broken mice, and reoccurring bleeping expletives. So I kind of feel the pain for this one, and I'm glad to see this was fixed so quickly. So currently the fix functionality of symbols restricts the users from leveraging, again, the style sets capabilities, and also moves the symbols along with its owner, which means the position is not retained. So you spend some time creating some symbols, which are the device icons within this environment. You put them in a very meticulous place, and then you make a change somewhere else, and all of a sudden they revert back to the original placement. So that was never good. You had to keep going back and do extra work. But thankfully, this change has been resolved with a fixed position addition to the symbols right-click menu. So this fixed position is now the new tool. So basically what this does is this will retain the position of the symbol even after you apply a style set. So again, I think this is going to be another really beneficial enhancement to the ones that do use this software. And again, the benefits are productivity gain, enhanced usability, and better white space management, which I think is pretty important. So the cut and paste is also a new feature. So previously we weren't able to cut an object and paste it into another design or another project. So we've added the new cut paste for individual actions, and these are actually individual actions. So when you do a cut from one design, jump into the other design and paste it, it will cut it from the original design, but then it will paste as a copy in all the other instances after that. But you can undo the paste and then undo the cut if you need to. It's not one action. The cut object will disappear from the diagram, but the first paste will move the object and subsequent pastes will be created as copies. And then the shared object will remain shared when pasted in the same design and become unshared and pasted in other diagrams. And then again, the benefits are to improve the interactive design user experience and increase efficiency with automated actions. So in summary, we witnessed the simple yet powerful CAM solution for the solid edge user. And again, that's kind of why I felt it was important to disclose that today, because everyone in this room, if not most, probably 99% of people, are solid edge users, not CAM users. So I think it's pretty important to mention, just so you guys had an idea, in case it does come across your desk in the future. For solid edge electrical routing enhancements, we reviewed the filter support in the route along surface command, and how to assign terminals within the assembly environment, which I think is pretty important too. And then we learned how to map electrical component IDs within the solid edge environment to match the solid edge electrical design side of things. And then finally, we saw some really great remedies for the challenging in terms of how we can better control the placement of symbols and leader lines and other components within the diagram. So now we'll take any questions if anybody has any questions. I know that hit probably a small portion of this group, but if anybody has any additional questions, I'd be happy to ask or answer. No? Okay. So now I got to put my sales hat on for a second. So just a quick note, I don't know if you guys are aware, but most of you are probably aware we've been doing training classes in our office for many years now, but because of COVID, everybody kind of stopped doing that stuff. So we adapted and we started providing online training live through Teams meetings. But now we're back full blown into the Cincinnati campus doing in-person on-demand training. But for those that are still a little apprehensive to travel or be gone for a whole week, we still do offer the live on-demand or the live feed training for the in-person people that are there. So currently we have a mix of people. There's probably 75% of the people are in our office, which is what we prefer for our students to be in office. You just get a little bit of a break from the monotony of the everyday, I guess, things that happen in the office every day. So, but here are a couple of previews of some of the stuff we offer if you're not familiar. So we have the SE Mechanical Cad classes. So we teach the fundamentals, advanced, and we do ordered specific. So I know I can probably split the group in half, how many do synchronous and how many do ordered. But it seems to be the ordered specific training, there's a lot of demand for that. So we've taught that quite a bit recently. And we also have a synchronous training, but I personally haven't done that yet. I'm sure it's a good class. But we also do NX CAD, Essentials and Advanced. And then the CAM Pro, as I mentioned, there's also a Fundamentals, Advanced, and Turning for that. And then I think there are probably some questions in here in regards to the solid edge wire and harness design. As I mentioned, it's a pretty new product for the Siemens product group. So there are a lot of people that are interested in it, and there are also a lot of people that need to learn it because it's not like solid edge. It's not like most of the other add-ons. It's a completely different software, but it is very user-friendly once you kind of understand that it's not solid edge. And then for any more additional information, I'm sorry, just to add to the solid edge electrical, we're still in development of that classroom material, but there's been some recent inclusions. Currently, there's an on-demand training available. It's a pretty intuitive portal that you can go